The forest was alive with whispers of the wind and the rustling of leaves. A disciple sought guidance from Buddha. Buddha sat serenely beneath the Bodhi tree, gazing at the canopy above. The disciple approached, bowing deeply in respect. "Master," the disciple began, "my mind is restless, tormented by endless thoughts." Buddha turned his gaze toward the disciple, his expression compassionate. "Tell me," Buddha said, "what thoughts disturb your mind so greatly?" The disciple hesitated, then spoke. "It is the noise of the world that causes this turmoil within me." Buddha smiled gently and gestured to the surrounding forest. "Observe the leaves. Swayed by the wind's breath," Buddha said. "Do they resist its touch?" The disciple looked around, his eyes following the gentle movement of the leaves. "No, Master," he replied, "they sway effortlessly with the wind's direction." Buddha nodded and continued, "Stillness does not mean escaping the wind. It means moving harmoniously with it." The disciple's brow furrowed, seeking clarity in Buddha's words. "But, Master," he asked, "how can one find stillness amid the chaos of life's noise?" Buddha reached out, plucking a fallen leaf from the ground before him. He held it up for the disciple to see. "This leaf," Buddha began, "lies still, but it does not fear the rustling wind above." The disciple's gaze fixed on the leaf, and he pondered Buddha's analogy. "Are you saying, Master, that we must accept noise without resistance?" Buddha set the leaf down gently, his touch light as the morning breeze. "Acceptance is but one step," Buddha said. "True stillness arises from understanding and observing without attachment or judgment." The disciple considered Buddha's words, nodding slowly as realization began to dawn. "Master," he said, "it is easier to observe the leaves than to quiet the storms within my mind." Buddha's gaze softened, his voice imbued with calm wisdom. "The storm is the teacher, not the enemy," he said. "The lessons come from the noise." The disciple's eyes widened as he absorbed Buddha's guidance, striving to grasp its deeper meaning. "Tell me," Buddha asked, "when the storm passes, does the sky remain disturbed or find serenity once more?" The disciple replied, "It finds serenity, Master, after the storm has ceased its relentless motion." Buddha nodded, the faintest smile gracing his lips. "Within serenity lies stillness, cultivated through patience and awareness." The disciple bowed again, committing Buddha's words to his heart. "Master, how may I begin cultivating patience and awareness amidst the distractions of daily life?" Buddha gestured to the forest once more, his hand sweeping toward the myriad natural sounds. "Listen," Buddha instructed, "not for silence, but for the symphony of life as it unfolds." The disciple closed his eyes, letting the sounds of the forest wash over his senses without judgment. "I hear the wind," the disciple murmured, "and the chirping of birds among the trees." Buddha's voice flowed like the river, steady and soothing. "And do these sounds disturb your mind as the noise of the city does?" The disciple opened his eyes, shaken by the contrast he felt within himself. "No, Master," the disciple answered. "The sounds here bring peace rather than discord." Buddha's gaze held the disciple's, its depth unyielding. "Peace is not in the sound itself but in your perception of it." The disciple's breath caught as he realized the profound truth in Buddha's words. "Master, I have been seeking peace outside when I should look within." Buddha inclined his head, his approval silent yet unmistakable. "Peace is ever present within, waiting for your recognition." The disciple took a deep breath, his heart growing lighter as he absorbed Buddha's wisdom. "Master, will I fail again in my pursuit of stillness?" Buddha extended his hand, inviting the disciple to stand beside him beneath the Bodhi tree. "Failure is the path," Buddha said. "Each step teaches you the way forward, not backward." The disciple's heart filled with gratitude, his doubts receding like mist before the morning sun. "Master, I will endeavor to walk this path, no matter its challenges. Buddha's voice rose as a whisper in the wind. Stillness is not a destination but the journey itself. The disciple gazed upward, the light filtering through the leaves casting patterns upon his face. Master, he asked, is the Bodhi tree still amidst its own rustling leaves? Buddha rested his gaze upon the towering tree, a symbol of enlightenment and peace. The tree is one with the rustling, knowing no separation, no conflict, Buddha said. The disciple nodded, hope growing within him as he grasped the harmony Buddha described. Master, I see now that stillness need not be void of movement or sound. Buddha's expression softened with gratitude for the disciple's blossoming insight. Stillness is the dance of life, not its absence. The disciple's mind quieted as the forest seemed to embrace him with its gentle song. Master, the disciple said, you have shown me where to look, though I must find the way myself. Buddha's gaze held the disciple's, steady and unwavering. The way is yours to walk, yet never walked alone. The disciple bowed deeply, his heart filled with reverence and gratitude. Buddha turned his gaze toward the horizon, his teachings delivered as whispers of the wind. Another day, another journey brought the disciples to a tranquil riverbank under the warm golden light of the sun. The Buddha sat quietly by the water, observing the gentle current flowing in endless patterns. One disciple, troubled in thought, knelt before the Buddha and spoke with hesitation. Master, the disciple began, my mind struggles to find peace amidst the endless interruptions of my daily life. The Buddha, serene and attentive, reached down and picked up a smooth pebble from the riverbank. Holding it gently, the Buddha turned his gaze toward the disciple and said, this pebble will show you the nature of the mind. With an effortless motion, the Buddha cast the pebble into the calm river before them. Ripples spread outward in perfect, concentric circles, gradually dissipating into stillness once more. Observe, the Buddha said, how the river responds to the pebble's touch yet returns to its natural tranquility. The disciple watched intently, his thoughts mirroring the ripples across the water's surface. Master, he asked, what does the river teach us about finding peace in a restless world? The Buddha's voice carried the clarity of the flowing current. The river embraces the pebble's presence without resistance, allowing the ripples to fade naturally with time. The disciple bowed his head, feeling the resonance of the Buddha's wisdom within his heart. And yet, Master, he continued, what if the mind is filled with endless pebbles cast into it without respite? The Buddha lifted a handful of pebbles, casting them into the river in a swift, fluid motion. The water churned momentarily, disturbed by the sudden flurry of impacts, before gradually settling into stillness. Even amidst many ripples, the Buddha said, the river remains vast and ever-flowing, unshaken in its essence. The disciple considered the Buddha's words, his expression a blend of curiosity and yearning for understanding. Master, he said, how does one cultivate such vastness within the mind to contain life's unceasing disturbances? The Buddha gazed at the horizon, where the river stretched toward the infinite distance. The mind becomes vast through awareness, patience, and the practice of letting go, he replied. The disciple's brow furrowed with thought as he pondered the meaning of the Buddha's teaching. Master, the disciple asked, what does it mean to let go when one feels overwhelmed by the burdens of life? The Buddha turned toward the disciple, his eyes radiating both compassion and insight. Letting go is not abandonment, the Buddha said, but the recognition that clinging creates suffering and obscures peace. The disciple nodded slowly, his heart stirred by the depth of the Buddha's wisdom. But, Master, he said, how can one learn to let go when attachment feels so deeply ingrained within? The Buddha reached into the river, cupping water in his hands, and then allowed it to fall freely through his fingers. Attachment is like holding water tightly, Buddha said. The harder you grasp, the more it slips away. The disciple watched as the water returned to the river, merging seamlessly with its flow. Letting go, the Buddha continued, is the act of allowing life to flow without attempting to control its course. The disciple's heart felt lighter, his burden eased by the clarity of the Buddha's analogy. Master, he said, your words illuminate the path, yet it feels long and arduous to walk. The Buddha gestured to the river, its current steady and unwavering in its journey toward the sea. The river's journey is long, the Buddha said, but it flows effortlessly, carrying no burden except its own essence. The disciple's eyes softened, filled with a new sense of hope and determination. Master, he asked, how can I apply this wisdom to the constant challenges and distractions of my daily existence? The Buddha rose, his movements graceful as the wind, and gestured for the disciple to follow. They walked along the riverbank, the water's gentle sound accompanying their steps like a serene melody. Every distraction, the Buddha said, is like a ripple, an opportunity to return to the stillness beneath the surface. The disciple listened intently, his mind attuned to the rhythm of the Buddha's words and the river's flow. Master, he said, is the stillness you speak of always present, even when the mind feels chaotic? The Buddha paused, his gaze resting on the calm depths of the river. Stillness is the nature of the mind, he said, hidden beneath the ripples of thought and emotion. The disciple knelt by the water, cupping it in his hands as if seeking to understand its essence. Master, he said, how can one remain connected to this stillness amidst the ceaseless demands of the world? The Buddha smiled gently, his presence as unwavering as the river itself. Through practice, Buddha said, each moment becomes a chance to remember and return to stillness. The disciple looked up, his heart filled with both gratitude and resolve. Master, he said, I will strive to let each ripple teach me the way to peace. The Buddha inclined his head, his approval as quiet as the river's unending flow. Peace arises not from absence but from acceptance and awareness, he said. The disciple rose, his spirit renewed, and walked beside the Buddha along the river's edge. The journey felt lighter now, his steps more grounded, as he carried the teachings within. The river's song accompanied them, a timeless reminder of life's flow and the stillness that underlies it all. Another day, another journey brought the disciples to the foot of a grand mountain beneath the vast expanse of the sky. The Buddha stood silently, gazing at the towering peak with an expression of serene contemplation. One disciple, weary from the climb, approached the Buddha and bowed deeply before him. Master, the disciple said, this journey has been difficult, and my spirit feels burdened by doubt and uncertainty. The Buddha turned his gaze to the disciple, his eyes filled with boundless compassion. Tell me, Buddha said, what doubts cloud your mind? The disciple hesitated, then spoke, I doubt my ability to find peace in the chaos of this ever-changing world. The Buddha gestured toward the mountain, its imposing presence unwavering amidst the winds and shifting weather. Observe the mountain, Buddha said. It stands unmoved, grounded in its essence despite the storms that may assail it. The disciple looked up at the mountain, its silent strength a stark contrast to his own wavering heart. Master, he asked, how can one cultivate such unwavering presence amidst life's constant upheavals? The Buddha began walking toward a plateau, motioning for the disciple to follow closely behind. Reaching the plateau, Buddha sat upon a rock, gazing out at the valley below with deep tranquility. The mountain's strength, Buddha said, does not come from resisting change but from embracing its role in the greater harmony. The disciple knelt beside Buddha, his heart yearning to understand the profound nature of the teaching. Master, he asked, how can one embrace change when it feels overwhelming and beyond control? The Buddha extended his hand, holding it above the rocky ground beneath them. Change is like the wind, Buddha said. It touches all things, yet cannot uproot what is firmly rooted within. The disciple closed his eyes, feeling the wind's gentle caress upon his face, its presence both fleeting and eternal. Master, the disciple murmured, what does it mean to be firmly rooted within oneself? Buddha's voice resonated like the echoes in the valley, steady and profound. Root yourself in awareness and compassion, the unshakable ground of your being, Buddha said. The disciple's heart stirred as he absorbed the depth of Buddha's words, seeking to embody their wisdom. Master, he asked, how can one find the strength to remain rooted when faced with the trials of life? Buddha gestured toward the mountain peak, its summit crowned by clouds and kissed by the sun. Like the mountain, Buddha said, find stillness in your depths, allowing your presence to rise above the turbulence of the world. The disciple opened his eyes, gazing at the valley with new perspective and profound reverence. Master, he said, I wish to understand the stillness you speak of, yet it feels elusive to grasp. The Buddha picked up a small stone and held it in his palm, his movements deliberate and calm. Stillness is not the absence of motion, Buddha said, but the harmony of awareness with the flow of existence. The disciple watched as the Buddha placed the stone gently upon the rocky ground, its weight settling naturally. This stone, Buddha continued, finds peace in its stillness, not by resisting the wind but by being present in its place. The disciple nodded slowly, his heart growing lighter as the mountain's wisdom seemed to echo through Buddha's words. Master, the disciple said, how does one remain present amidst the distractions and noise of the modern world? The Buddha turned his gaze toward the horizon, where the light and shadows intertwined in a timeless dance. Presence arises from the silence within, Buddha said, the space where awareness dwells, unshaken by external noise. The disciple's breath deepened, his mind growing quieter as he listened to the mountain's whispers in the wind. Master, he asked, is this silence within always accessible, or does it require great effort to uncover? The Buddha closed his eyes, his presence radiating serenity that seemed to envelop all who stood near. The silence is ever present, Buddha said, revealed in moments of surrender to the flow of life's rhythms. The disciple bowed his head, his doubts diminishing in the light of Buddha's teachings and the mountain's steadfast grace. Master, he said, I will strive to uncover this silence within and find peace in life's ever-changing currents. The Buddha inclined his head, his approval silent yet profound, as the mountain stood witness to their exchange. The way to peace, Buddha said, is the way of presence, awareness, and compassion, the unshakable roots of stillness. The disciple rose, his spirit renewed, and gazed at the mountain with deep admiration and gratitude. The Buddha walked forward, leading the disciples down the winding path toward the valley below. As they descended, the sounds of the world returned, yet the disciples' heart remained quiet within. The journey continued, the teachings alive within the disciples' mind, carried like a sacred gift. The mountain's silent strength echoed in every step they took, a reminder of life's eternal stillness. It is the courage to face reality while finding strength to begin anew. The river's gentle current mirrored the flow of Buddha's teachings, harmonizing the scene with the essence of his wisdom. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.